Apparently, Warner Brothers is doubling down on DEI and making content for this modern global audience, despite losing 400 million plus in 2024. We're going to check out Vera Dark's video about it. Shout out to Vera Dark. Link in the description to the original video.
The situation with Warner Brothers Discovery has been pretty grim because the people working at this company truly and genuinely do not care what gamers have to say
They do
or
not.
why so many of their games are failing, and that's primarily because the people they're hiring are activists who are more worried about pushing politics instead of creating fun entertainment.
That's absolute fucking facts. And funny enough, Suicide Squad right there. That was supposed to be their huge groundbreaking game over there. They've also ruined Mortal Kombat 1. WB Games is just a shell of its former self. Multiverses is already dead. They're closing that up. They're more focused on woke narratives, woke propaganda, woke agendas, and actually making fun games. Guys, make some games.
But now Warner Brothers is doubling down on inclusion despite
Mistake.
their $200 million loss with Kill the Justice League.
200 million alone with Kill the Justice League. That is wild.
I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, people...
Vera Dark's been crushing it, by the way. 155K. I remember she was just barely 100K. She's shooting up. If you're not subscribed to her, go check out the original video. Show her some love on this video. Hit her subscribe.
Ask me all the time if I think that DEI is dying in the industry, and I do think one day it inevitably
Hopefully.
will, but not anytime soon. Just because a company is kind of going silent on their practices, or they're not outwardly admitting that they're hiring activists still, they definitely are, and it is going to take years before we see a drastic shift.
It's going to take quite a while, and I don't know how many more times these companies are going to keep failing and keep having flop after flop and studio close after, I mean, like Firewalk Studios. They shut down after that disaster of Concord. I'm surprised WB Games is still standing after $200 million loss from Suicide Squad. When are they going to learn? When are they going to learn?
Look at development times for games like Star Wars Eclipse, for example. They announced that back in 2021, and it's not coming out until 2027 if it even reaches that date. If it's not longer,
I don't even think
it wouldn't surprise me. But development times are very long. It takes a long time for titles to actually come out. And just imagine how many games are in the works for major companies that do push initiatives, that do focus on politics. And
Ubisoft, ring a bell, guys. They're the worst offender, I think, in my opinion.
Instead of good storytelling or character development or amazing gameplay. And, well, Warner Brothers is definitely one of the companies that at this point in time really doesn't care. We had just heard that they canceled the Wonder Woman game, which I'm not so heartbroken over because I love the idea of a Wonder Woman game and having the Nemesis system back, but we...
Yeah, who even wanted the Wonder Woman game? I mean, Wonder Woman's a cool character, but my God, I'm glad they already cut it before they would incur more losses.
You do know that, like, Gail Simone, a raging feminist, was a consultant.
Wow.
Cypher of Tyr, or Tanya DePass, was the senior writer, and she also has attacked gamers and, you know, called us ists and phobes before, so that project seemed like it was going to be feminist law. But if they had been listening to us all these years, they definitely would have found another project to use the Nemesis system in.
Yeah, which that Nemesis system would have been badass. But yeah, all those weird activists and feminist activists and stuff that attack gamers. See, the issue is all these people that work for these studios literally attack the consumers. And they never learn. You look at their social media, they just attack the consumer over and over and over. And they just hate gamers. They really just hate gamers.
And instead, they've gone the live service route, and they've gone the focusing on inclusion route. And Warner Brothers has announced that it is committed to inclusive and diverse stories across our film and television programming around the world. Now,
television and film, including, god damn. Guys, Warner Brothers, I don't think they're going to be around very much longer, guys, if I'm going to be completely honest, which is sad to see.
I completely understand that companies, again, are not going to just like shift their strategy overnight. but they're not giving us any reason to trust them or
Mm-hmm.
believe that they are actually going to start listening to us, because
Absolutely.
diversity and inclusivity, when done naturally, are fantastic things. It does
I agree on that. If it's not forced in, if it's not shoehorned in, if it's not some obvious checklist that they're trying to do to appeal to a modern audience, which newsflash most of the time, especially with all this new Warner Brothers DC stuff happening, man, I'm so worried about the James Gunn DC universe. So you fucking worried about it.
it shouldn't matter what gender you are, what color your skin is. It shouldn't matter what your
It
culture
shouldn't.
is or your background.
Identity politics kills all, guys.
Right? You should have an opportunity to create a video game or a movie or
Mm-hmm.
a TV show if you are good enough at it.
I
People should
agree.
be hired based on their merits and
Mm-hmm.
not just their identity. And that's not the way that companies are working, especially Warner Brothers.
Yeah, they just focus on DEI hires, token hires. Oh, this person needs to make something just because it would be diverse. Hire the most qualified people. Okay, the best writers, the best directors, whatever. Hire based on merit.
So, the Chief Global Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer, so basically a useless and made up fictitious
That's great.
position, and the
I
Chief
love her
People and
demeanor.
Culture Officer, you'd think that those would basically be the same, sent out memos to staff that was obtained by Deadline, where they unequivocally declared the company's support for DEI. In the
Wow.
memo, the duo declared, for more than a century, our company has had a proud
Ugh.
history of creating
Gag me.
stories that inspire, educate, and
Ugh.
entertain audiences.
All this corpo speak that's just ugh. Our audience we captivated, blah blah blah. Like, shut up.
Of all backgrounds all over the world as storytellers to truly and deeply connect with those global audiences. Ding, 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 red flag. It is
Buzzwords.
imperative that we understand and reflect the incredible depth of their lives and experiences at every level of our company, in front of and
Disgusting.
behind the camera, on and off the screen. If you are focused more on appealing to a global audience instead of the audience you have that makes you money, you deserve to fail.
Absolutely. When you try to please everybody, which is this modern audience that really doesn't exist, they don't even come out and support anything. Look at everything that's been catered to a modern audience, where it's a movie, a TV show, or a video game, they all flop. They all flop, guys.
Our success absolutely depends on having a team that's truly diverse, reflects all perspectives, and has a culture where our employees feel valued and respected.
Oh
These have
God.
always been our values, and that won't ever change. Next, they declared that the company's allegiance is to woke ideology. We continue to be strongly committed to telling inclusive and diverse stories across our films and television programming
Oh.
around the world. Now,
So they're quadrupling down. They're doubling down. Oh, we're dedicated and strongly committed to telling inclusive and diverse stories. Like, oh God, when are they gonna learn? Never. They're never, ever, ever gonna learn.
if we just look at some of the diverse storytelling that they've done over the past couple of years, it hasn't worked out all that well for them. And let's
Nope.
just use one single example. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. That came out a little over a year ago, and it lost them over $200 million. This is what happens when you push aside the loving, nostalgic fan base you have and you try to market a product towards a new modern audience. Okay, the Arkhamverse was absolutely amazing. People
Love the Arkham games.
loved it to death, and people would have shown up to buy a new genuine
Definitely.
Arkhamverse experience. But what did you do? You decided to
Kill Batman and then retcon it. That's exactly what they did.
kill off these male characters and
Yep.
these lead characters that people loved in order to make room for a strong woman on the block, or several of them. And that's just not the experience that
Oh,
people wanted.
Warner
Instead
Brothers.
of having the raging feminist Harley Quinn, you could have had the sexy, funny, kind of ditzy Harley Quinn that we had in the past.
Yep. But no, they think that's what audiences want. That's what they think. And every time they guess wrong.
and you could have put Batman into the mix and had him show up at the end and help the
Mm-hmm.
Suicide Squad defeat Superman or the clone of Superman. Those would have been really
Absolutely.
cool story elements, but what did they do? No. They modernized.
Uh-huh.
Nevertheless, though, they've continued that
Mrs.
they will be
Freeze.
growing an inclusive team, and they do this by best-in-class recruiting and training programs, which provide essential skills, training, education, and job opportunities. So they can say all they want that this is their big new focus and that
It's
they're,
ridiculous.
doubling and tripling down on DEI initiatives, but they're not going to have much time.
This is all going to be a failure, guys. This company doesn't know its head from its ass. In all honesty, they've lost so much millions of dollars, so much bullcrap that really doesn't matter, that gamers don't care about. It's all a waste of time.
To double and triple down on these things if they don't make money, because no company can stay in business if they don't make
Mm-hmm.
money. And judging by even KTJL alone, they're failing right
They're
now. If
absolutely
we look at
failing.
what happened with Multiverses, they are shutting that game servers
Yeah.
down. That lost them $100 million. Quidditch Champions was a
Yep.
flop.
Dude, I didn't even play Quidditch Champions, and that was like a free PlayStation Plus game. Multiverses had potential. It had potential with all those franchises linked to it, but again, they don't know their head from their ass.
To cost them around $50 million. You have so many projects right now that are failing because they do
Mm-hmm.
not understand the core audience that they already have.
And that's ridiculous because all these franchises, all these licenses that they've have, like Harry Potter, DC, Mortal Kombat, you name it, they all have built-in audiences that you just have to worry about the source material that the audience likes already. Be true to the stories, the characters, everything. Quit trying to put all this weird DEI bullshit in it. Do with what the people that have been supporting these franchises for years want. It's that easy. It's not rocket science.
And yes, this doesn't just have to do with the gaming division. This
all
has
of
to
it.
do with Warner Brothers in totality, but let's be honest, they should be primarily just focused on the gaming industry. Hollywood in 2024 made about 12 to 13 billion dollars in the gaming industry, made nearly 200 billion.
Yeah, gaming definitely makes a lot. But at the same time, it wastes a lot of fucking money too. So they need to get that in order. I think a back to basics approach for certain franchises like Mortal Kombat might help.
So there is a very big difference there, and it should be clear that this is the kind of industry that they should be focused on.
Yeah.
As of right now, the game has a
Wow.
whopping 134 players in game at
That's
this
bad.
point in time, and I mean, just a couple of hours ago, it was down to 59 people. That is abysmal, and sure, with single player games and
That's
games that have
terrible.
like a main campaign, people play it. People don't return until new DLC comes out.
Mhm.
And in this case, they've had 5 rounds of DLC and nobody ever came back. I mean, the
Terrible.
biggest bump the game had seen since release, which was 13,459, which wasn't great, was 2,500.
So that's the height of what the game got. That is bad. For the franchise that game is, that is terrible.
In 61 players, that is not a good number to see them having, but that's the best they could do. And now they're averaging about 150 people
They're
in game
just
at all
bleeding
time. This
money.
is just what happens when you do not care about making good experiences. And
Yep.
again, they're canceling tons of things like the Wonder Woman game, which initially I had quite a bit of hype for. I'm sad that we're not getting a Wonder Woman game, but judging by all of the
Maybe one day in a perfect universe when they get their eggs in their baskets right, we'll get a decent Wonder Woman game. Until then, these people are just absolutely failing left and fucking right. Anyways, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Go show Vera some love. I got the original video linked in the description. And yeah, give me your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.